Well, we have listened to some very important and interesting comments being made. We heard the difficulty being expressed about recruiting entry-level workers, the whole idea of interest cost. We heard the challenges being faced right now for innovation and technology that is required within the whole technology area, export activities that will add value to the services being offered, quality management. We just heard of the socio-economic environment that should facilitate businesses, transformation of the learning systems, which I think what we're here to discuss today is just that, to facilitate the transformation of the learning systems. I'm happy to hear about the consideration being given to businesses being restructured for the realignment of their operations to facilitate the development of small, medium-sized businesses. And I'm hearing also training for export, you know, the free movement of skills and labor. I just want to add, just before I entertain a couple of questions or concerns about the training system, is that us at HeartTrust NTA, we have embarked on a strategic TVET strategy, which is looking at creating what we call an integrated training system, an integrated approach to training that will incorporate business entities, you know, other associations for the whole economic development and productivity improvement of the country. Because once we can get more persons engaged in productive activities, then of course poverty alleviation will actually be realized. So I'm happy to hear Mr. Heitel speaking to the issue of entrepreneurship, because within that integrated training system we are looking at, we are creating that environment that will not only facilitate the delivery of higher level programs and high quality programs, and even persons being exposed to industry-based experience, but also one that will facilitate the establishment of medium, micro, small, and medium-sized businesses. And all of this will be buttressed with the supporting relevant research and development. For it to be sustainable, somebody must be looking at what are the emerging areas, where do we need to go next to facilitate what we want to achieve. So we are actually looking at that, and all of that is to facilitate economic development and improved productivity. Now, I don't know if the panelists all have anything else to say, but I'll entertain questions from the audience, any points that you want to raise. I know when it comes on to TVET, there are always some pressing issue, one of resources, cost. You know, how do we fund this activity? You know, those are some real concerns that we'll have. Any questions from the audience? Any concerns?
Thank you very much. In the United States, one of the major problems we have is the non-career and technical education instructors don't believe in the skilled trades. And so they're not able to then tell the students the advantages of that. In your program, what are you doing to teach the instructors and the other teachers, K through the skilled trades? What are you doing to teach them about the value of career and technical education?
Okay, I heard I'm the one to take that question. Well, what we have done and what we are trying what we are actually pursuing with our teachers in our vocational training institution through what we call our VTDI institution, the training of TVET professionals in the system, is to integrate within the curriculum career education. So they are aware as to we are not just giving or imparting skills, but we are actually building careers, because skills can actually, you see, for something to be sustainable, one should be able to recreate or renew themselves as the economic situation dictates for that particular period. So we are incorporating the whole business of career education into our teacher training program for them to understand how we should groom and develop individuals in becoming productive citizens. Did I answer your question? Thanks.
As Singapore said, you have to rebrand. So one of the things we're doing is that at HeartTrust is that we're trying to focus on the career aspects. For example, giving the example of a lawyer. In So we use the legal profession as an example to show that you have two parts. The doing is a translation of your academic knowledge, and it is that doing that gives you the ability to earn. So again, using the same model as Singapore and rebranding, we're positioning skills at a higher level using examples that our people glean or people feel are the pinnacles of occupations, lawyers and doctors. Because as somebody said, you wouldn't want a doctor who was not skilled in his competence. You certainly wouldn't want a surgeon like that. So we use that, using marketing to show that it is a translation of your academic knowledge that gives you your earning power.
Exactly. Good. All right.
Question to the Jamaica Employers Federation and the other employers. As I understand it here in Jamaica, the Heart Trust and the technical training system is funded in whole or in part on a levy from the employer community. And from what I hear, there's a very close partnership with the employer community. I was wondering if you could comment on how you have been able to achieve that here in your industrial sort of employer community and employers generally, because in many countries it's difficult to find the resources to sustain the training system. Employers often say, that's the government's job. Don't tax us for that. So, if it's working for you, I'd be interested in your comments on that, whether that's working for you.
Employers Federation.
Okay. As you know, there's a tax that employers pay that helps to fund the Heart Trust. What I can say on the positive side is that employers in general benefit in the sense, for instance, that you can get heart trainees to come to work with you, and you can evaluate them, and then if necessary hire them at a very cheap rate. Actually, sometimes they come without a rate at all. And employers, we would be so pleased with their performance that we would give them a little stipend. It's a win-win situation. Recruitment out of heart is becoming one of the premier ways to recruit and be assured that you'll have a particular standard of person coming in. Only yesterday, I heard a very positive comment about it. The second part is the skills development, because Heart itself comes into your company and will do some diagnostics. They will do training at the various levels. So again, it's a win-win situation. So especially for the smaller, and even some of the larger organizations and companies, Heart comes in and will do your diagnostics, evaluate your skill levels. And for organizations like the one I work with, where you have a lot of plumbers and electricians and so, who have been working with years of experience but no certification, Heart would come in and set up a program for evaluation, certification, training, and so forth. So we see it as a win-win situation. But it's a tax, it's a legislated tax that is on the books.
Yes, it is something that is entrenched in the Heart Trust Act. So it is mandated by law that this 3% levy is paid over for the support of workforce development in Jamaica.
Just one comment on that. The comment I made earlier with respect to the entry level is very relevant at this particular juncture, because one of the things that you look for in industry is for an entry-level employee to hit the ground running. When you have a vacancy, it's a technical vacancy that has become available. So you don't really have much time. And this is why it is incumbent on Heart as an institution to provide the requisite skill levels that when they arrive, the orientation process will be reduced so that production and productive activity can commence almost immediately. This is the connection that we're looking for. Mm-hmm. That's precisely where we want this organization to move to, so that there is no hindrance, there's no setback to production and productivity.
Okay, very good Yes?
Sitting here and listening to all the challenges and difficulties. However, I just want to know, as an individual, what can I do to aid this tremendous work?
Yes. Right. Okay. All right. What was the question?
The question was, what can I do to help? You might ask, what has she got to offer?
Okay. Yes. What you might do to help, we might have to first start with what is it that you have to offer, and then we can maybe think about that. But I think what we have to do as individuals as we go, as you heard the concern earlier about branding, is that each and every one of us must take that responsibility to dispel the myth about what TVET is all about, TVET education is all about. We have to take that opportunity to begin to champion in the cause for TVET, individually as you move around, and actually equate all profession as a vocation. As Dr. Hale pointed out earlier on, the lawyer, the doctors, these are all vocational qualifications, so we can, as an individual, begin to champion the cause for TVET. We are actually we are at the end of this panel discussion, and I'm quite sure there are a lot of other questions and ideas, and I'm seeing lots of hands going up there now, but I just have to cut, because if I go above or beyond this time, I'm going to be in serious trouble. What I'll ask you to do is just write those questions down, pass them on, and we'll see if we can answer them in between some sessions later on. What's that? 10 seconds? All right, 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
School is a socializing agent. And if we are going to get our children to make technical and vocational skill as the area of choice, as one of the primary areas, we have to make our labs attractive. We have to make the skill area very, very attractive to them. While the government is doing its best, I think the private sector, just like how they fund football, sports, and so on, they should also show an interest in the technical vocational areas in school by helping to develop the woodwork labs, the mechanical labs, and so on.
So
that's a comment.
Private sector involvement is critical.
Yes.
10 seconds.
I'd like to applaud the young lady earlier that asked what can she do to assist with the program. You know, not always we have people asking what they can do, but instead what the program can do for me. And I think for that we need to applaud her. In her point of view though, I can say that she can influence other persons, even if you obtain a degree. That listen, learning a skill is the way to go. She can use her influences to attract other persons, to engage persons on the skill program in their organizations or business enterprises. You can also link up with Mr. Alan Beckford, who is the director for the CAP program, to see if you can offer your skills as a volunteer to the program. And there's also the Junior Achievement Program in the Ministry of Education, in which we go into the schools and teach people about financial literacy, how to start your own business and stuff like those. You can give your assistance there as best as possible.
Very good. And we just want to thank our panelists for their contribution this afternoon, or this morning. And I think this is a good note to end on. At this time, I'll just return the microphone to Mr. Mark Thomas.